Hey everyone, my name is Jenny Wren Stotrup of Gritty Birds Podcasting and the Gritty Birds Podcast, and this is Free Fridays. Every Friday, I'm going to teach you a new skill. We're going to deep dive into things that help you be a better content director and a better podcaster and being better at working from home. All in hour-long workshops free to you. This video is a restream from our Friday series, which you can watch live over at Gritty Birds Podcasting and also on my personal page. So go ahead and you can subscribe here. I'll be posting them later in the days, but if you want to be a part of it, go to facebook.com/Gritty Birds Podcasting. And if you can, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube so that we can go ahead and change our URL. All right, thanks so much and enjoy the video. All right, so we are all set. My name is Jenny Wren, Gritty Birds Podcasting, and this is the second Free Friday. And since last week, I've been spending a lot of time working with streaming. So the number one thing that everyone has been hitting me up with is streaming. And so last week I did a short one, and there was some issues with our web ability. So I wasn't able to use my laptop. My desktop was able to work, but obviously, I have a lot more set up on the laptop for me to be able to give these workshops. So I'm really happy that things are working out. We got a little bit of late start today because one of the things I'm going to tell you about that we're testing out in our home that is going to hopefully help our feeds. And I'll let you know a little bit about that later. So today we're going to be going through a few different things in streaming. And tomorrow I'm actually going to do a little more workshop-based one. So today we don't have slides. Today I am going to walk you through, first of all, how to use Zoom and how to have those best settings. Today, for example, one of the settings that I didn't set was an issue that ended up coming up. I'm also streaming here to Facebook, so you can check that out later and watch from there. And then you also can come, and I'll have this up on YouTube a little bit later. So the Free Friday series are going to be going on every Friday, and there's going to be a lot of different topics. I'm also going to be having interviews on Wednesdays with different people to be able to answer some of your questions, and I'm really stoked to be here. So again, I'm Jenny Wren. This is, I've been doing podcasting now for about 7 years. 5 years is when since I've been producing my own show. And for the last year, this is actually my anniversary week of being an entrepreneur, a fully only working from home person. And it's great to be able to help other people to be able to work from home as well. And so thank you so much for supporting all the Gritty Birds bits. And we're going to get started. So the way that today is going to run is first, I'm going to talk about the Zoom. We're going to go into Zoom. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about internal programs that you can be using for streaming as well. After I talk about Zoom and a couple of the just plain streaming, like just purely for fun streaming, and then we're going to go into ones that you're using for work. Zoom, of course, is one of those, so that's part of it. And then finally, I'll be touching into some of the other streaming options out there, especially for just personal contact and some of the game-based programs and how we can use these programs to better suit everything that's going on. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Zoom. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be sharing a screen with you. So we're going to be going here into Chrome, and you can see this is my Facebook, and now we're heading into meetings. So Zoom is a great option, and right now they've got some good deals for being able to get things out there really easily. And it's one of the really best ways to have conversations with multiple people in here. So I'm able to have people comment in person, and it's also really great for filming and recording. So it doesn't have a cap for how much time I'm recording, which is why I'm using Zoom as the platform currently for this series, because another one that we're going to talk about after Zoom is Streamyard, and I really like Streamyard. Streamyard's going to be great when we're having those interviews, but it only gives me 4 hours of recording a month. So I know that I'm going to have to limit and make certain choices based on what I want to be able to have recorded for those, where I might have 7 to 10 webinars that I'm filming and that I want to have going out to all the people out there. So here we see our Zoom dashboard, and I'm going to walk you through just some of the settings. And so I want to say, I'm going to go into my account, and there's 2 places that we're going to be taking a look, and one of them is here. What just happened? Oh, Did I? Okay. Oh, there we are. Just a second. Am I on the wrong? Oh my gosh. I think I'm on the wrong mic. Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I just realized that I've been broadcasting to the wrong mic. And I want to apologize for that. That's actually really funny. And a part of me wants to like start over for that purpose, but hey, we're just going to move forward on this because problems are going to come up. And I think that's one really good lesson to have. In fact, the reason that this is happening is because I was having issues with my other feed. So here now we're set back up. Okay, that's much, much better. My apologies. Again, I have two microphones here and two different headsets that are set up to two different computers. So, sorry. All right, so we're back here onto my desktop. You can see here, this is the Zoom profile settings. And as we can take a look, we've got our profile, we've got meetings, webinars, and there's a few things that we really want to have in our settings that are going to make this a lot better for you. Webinars is an ad. Right now I'm spending $20 a month on here. So as I'm setting up these different feeds, like there's a couple that I want to have, and one of them is join before host. And so I have it set up that I don't want the host people to come in before the host arrives. And in this particular session, it didn't set up a webinar, like a meeting room. And I'm going to show you where that is as well. And that was one of the things that happened a little bit ago is I had people entering before I could do a sound check. So it ended up kind of being a little rushed. So I wasn't able to do the sound check, which is something that we're going to walk through in a bit. So I have it set so that I don't want anyone to be able to join before I do. And then I also have it, so I don't have a password because I want to make that really simple for people to enter. And then I have you can potentially have just a one-click join, make it really, really easy. And the other one that I have set is that I want participants to be muted upon entry. And the reason that is especially if it's webinars and if we're having several people in here, it's really easy for people to forget to turn off their mic. A good example of that would be on Wednesday night, I was taking part of Mercado's trivia for a few minutes, and I'm terrible at trivia, so not having a breakout group was very challenging for me. And I'm learning about breakout groups in Zoom, and that'll probably be something we'll touch base into more. But it meant that there was someone in the background the whole time, like making these noises, and so it's a nice place to kind of start from there. And then like we can have our certain etiquette. And we're going to talk about etiquette after we've gone through the settings. So the next couple ones is you can actually have private chat. Those are great. You can auto save the chat. So at the end, if there's somebody, this is really great if you are doing a webinar and you have someone else who's taking notes for you. That's actually really helpful. So I have an idea of what I'm going to be talking about, but somebody else might be like writing notes in there. And then like I did that for the Power event on Saturday, which is a women's group. And in that particular group, what I did was one person was taking notes. I copy paste them into a Google a paper drive document, and then everyone had access to it. We could add links and made it very simple for people to access that information later. The next big part is going to be scrolling down, 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 down. You can have breakout rooms. This is it. So we can separate in there, but down, 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 waiting room. So all participants. And okay, where are we at? Even farther. Okay. I guess it goes into recording. So you can go ahead into recording. So for a lot of people that I know, recording is really huge. And I like to be able to set it up so that you can have it the automatic. So I have here record active speaker with shared screen so that people can have there, and you can record locally if you want to. And the settings down here are really important if you are doing recording because you want to have a few different settings, but those settings are not here in this section. So the big things to note first is, let's go back to our meeting, is go ahead. I say mute upon entry for the people that you have. Make it really simple. You don't have to have a password. You know, passwords are going to be challenging. I like having a waiting room at first. It can be a little bit tricky at times, and that can be a little bit frustrating at moments for people to be able to see. So I'm going to go here and just check in on our participants, see if anyone else is just me right now. That's totally fine. Okay, so the next piece of this is that when I have my program open, so I'm going to stop my desktop share for a moment, and I'm going to move over to our into Zoom itself. So I'm in Zoom itself, and I'm heading open to preferences. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to share my screen, and this time I'm going to share my desktop. So instead of Chrome.
And you can see here, this is the part why I like having the test piece, because here I can see like how loud it is. I can test my speaker and I can hear whether I can hear it. I can hear it just fine. I can test my mic and it's recording. Start. So it's working out just fine as I can hear it. And then right here, it says mute microphone when joining a meeting. And I can have that set for mine so that if outside of when I'm giving a workshop, we can have that. There's a few really cool things here as well, but in recording is where I want to have something set. So like right now I have recording video during screen sharing. So that means that I'm also making sure that I'm setting everything up for you so you can see it. And then I want to go back here to audio and to general. So general. There is a particular one I'm not finding. They must have moved it again potentially, because there's this part that allows for original sound, and that's what I'm looking for right here. Because there's yes, allow for original sound. That's what I'm looking for. Darn it. Anyway, they tend to move things around, and I thought that it was here. So, because original sound is like when you have that weird, obnoxious audio. I'm going to stop the share while I'm looking for this. So when you hear about people not liking Zoom, one of the biggest issues is that it has this particularly grainy sound, and it also often has just a not very pleasant feeling to it. It sounds weird. It doesn't sound great. And because of that, it can just sound really uncomfortable. And it's not an easy thing to clean up as an editor, and it's not necessarily something that's particularly nice to listen to as a listener. And so having the allow for original sound, if I can find it, all of a sudden it's missing for me. Enable original sound is going to be there. So I'm going to have to touch base in that because I'm not seeing that right here, because it looks like they might have moved it. The other big part is if you're on your preferences for Zoom, you can do dual track. So it is in that area that you should be able to do. Oh, in advanced. Weird, they moved some things. Okay, I'll figure that out. This is a new thing for me, because you should be able to, in all of these, have also do, oh, here it is. Okay, got it. I'm sharing screen. This isn't original sound, but this is the other part of it. So here I put down that I want a separate audio file for each participant. And this is the other reason why I like to enable the waiting room, because then everyone starts at once. And that allows for really easy to track where I might have myself separate. And that includes when I have workshops with a few different people. So those are kind of the basics of Zoom. And so the next thing I want to talk about when it comes down to Zoom is that we want to have both etiquette in our rooms. And then the second thing I want to talk about is how to optimize your own space for being able to get the best quality that you can for your streams. And this is going to be applicable for everything post. So if you're only listening this far and taking a look at the Zoom information and the streaming, like this is going to be it. Everything past here is going to be a lot more information, but this is the really important part. So what you have when you're having etiquette in your groups, one thing you want to think about is that this is why the enable the waiting room is so huge. I've been in groups now where like there's 200 people in the room and all of us are streaming at the same time. And then there's ones where there's just like 5 of us. And whenever you're having that, you want to have some kind of protocol for being able to share information. And one thing I really recommend is like doing a hand raise, or you can be using the group chat and going into the chat to be able to make any notes and say, I have a comment, or I have a question. So like in the future, as this is coming up and more people are able to log on to the Facebook, not just going through the Facebook Live, but are able to check this out on the stream, people can be asking me questions as they go. One of the issues that I have with Zoom is it doesn't enable Facebook comments. So like if anyone's watching this as a stream, through Zoom, one of the challenges is that at this point, I'm not being able to see what you're saying. And that's one of the things that I like about a few of these other applications that we're going to take a look at. But the cool part about Zoom is that anyone can join this feed. So one of the things I've liked about Zoom is that like I've been hanging out with my friend Sia. She's a podcaster I know from the podcast world, and a lot of us have been getting together and just like these kind of happy hours and having conversations. And it was great last night having a glass of wine with a bunch of Texans, and that means that like anyone can jump on at any point and say, hey, I'm here, this is what we're doing today. And that's something that's really, really pleasant. The next thing is like, let's take a look at how we want to stream and how to make sure our internet's working. And so I'm going to show you something that's a really great tool that I was recently added to. So stream test. Okay, where is it? I'm not screen right now, right? Okay, give me just a second. I thought I had it pulled up. I just need to make sure I find it. Speedtest. Okay, so this is called Speedtest, and your computer. I'm going to share my my screen with you now. So I'm going to share with you my Chrome. So this here is Speedtest, and I want to be able to know how well my internet's working and what's going on with it. And so like a lot of them are going to be, depending on what your bandwidth is going to be somewhere around 16. And so right now it's testing mine and it's seeing where it's at. And I've got some real good download speeds right now. This is fantastic. And I'm going to explain about, whoa, this is awesome. And so you can see it's testing it. It's seeing how fast it's sending it out and how fast it's sending it back. So the download is 61, which is the fastest I've ever had. I'm going to explain why that happened. But my upload is really off. So that tells me that I need to figure something out. And my laptop has been having issues. And this is where lately when I've been having trouble with my laptop, we're not sure what's going on. But for you, it's a really good test to see like how things are going. So then this morning I had an issue and I realized that we were at 1 millibyte per second. So this happened at about 10 a.m. And so for the last 3 hours, where I had been hoping to try to get a few other things taken care of, we've been just trying to get the internet going in the backspace here. And that's frustrating, but like it's part of what we have to have as we're doing this. So if you are somebody who is having a lot of work meetings and you have kids, it's really a great idea to have a conversation about what hours they're using their devices. It also can help by, turning off your Wi-Fi on your phones. You can go ahead and have those things off. So like my Wi-Fi is off on here, on my other computer, that Wi-Fi is off right now to be able to really enhance that signal. The other thing is being closer to your router. And if you have an Ethernet cord that you can connect to, you're going to get the best streams possible by having the connection to that Ethernet cable. But like for me, I'm not anywhere close to that whatsoever. So that's a huge problem. So what I ended up doing is I ended up buying a booster off of Amazon. It's $25, and we connected it to our main router, and then we have it now in between where the router was and the main house, which I don't go into very often, and out into the studio. And so now my laptop is actually able to function. Of course, now my desktop is being funky. So some of the stuff that I'd had set up for the workshop ended up not being that great. So all of these things are things you want to think about when you're having your streams, how you're having those streams, like what your feelings are around them as far as like the communication you're having with the etiquette, but also making sure that you're ready and set. When you're having your streams, you want to make sure you don't have all the windows open. You're going to end up having slower computer speeds. The other big thing is recognizing what time of day you're doing speed. So I'm doing speed tests right now at different points in the day. So like it was bad first thing in the morning, or I've noticed that in the middle of the day, if you're trying to do Zoom feeds, it's just not quite landing. And what that is telling us is that there's tons of other people that are on the internet. So when you're thinking about streams, you have to understand that this is not some magical unicorn in the world. It's not a magical universe of internet. There are actually places that physically run our internet, that physically run our internet companies, that physically run all of those feeds. And if we don't have the ability to control those feeds, if you don't have the ability to handle all of the bandwidth, that means everything gets slower. So your websites are slower because they purchased this much to be able to have that. Your internet company is having trouble because they're paying somebody to have that space. Like those places are also, trying to keep up everything while having potential issues. So you've seen a whole megaton of internet providers having issues. And it even comes down to the moderations that are happening in a lot of groups. The moderations are getting cut back. And that's a different purpose, but it has the same concept. If there's less people who can maintain these facilities, and there's just less money to necessarily buy more of that bandwidth, or you're waiting to buy the bandwidth, as some of these streaming companies are really going to be expanding their everything coming up, you're going to be seeing slower times of the day. So I found that like evenings are a lot better for my streams than are later in the day, than like the middle of the day. So like that 1 o'clock, even like 1:30 is now turning out to be a better time for streaming, because people are doing a lot on the top of the hour, as we've kind of started to discover with those of us who are doing streaming. So taking a look at what makes sense and having the best optimal conditions that you can have when you step into your streams are really going to make a huge difference for you in what the quality of them are, whether you're recording them or you're just trying to have a meeting with your colleagues, or if you are trying to stream and share something like music, right? So the next one that I'm going to show you, now that we've kind of touched based on Zoom, is that I want to go into Streamyard. And while I'm setting that up, I'm going to just clarify a little bit more on this device. It's called a wire, like it's a wireless expander, and I got it on Amazon for $25. You can find them elsewhere. So it's $25, and you just set it up in between. So wireless expander, otherwise an Ethernet cable straight to your wall, are the things that are going to number one help. And then also check out Speedtest. So those are the three things that you're going to have. And as I eventually build up a slide deck, I'll be doing some of this tomorrow for my workshop with Joe Part for the Indie PodCon, and I'll actually have some slide decks going. You'll be able to see those as I share those a little bit later. Okay, so we're going to take a look now at Streamyard. I really like Streamyard. I'm going to go here into my share screen. So I'm going to go back to sharing in just Google Chrome, because it lets you choose which one you want to do. So this here is Streamyard, and it is a very neat platform, and it's very slick and clean. All right, and let's see what we got going here. Okay, well, okay, shoot. I forgot about this. Okay, now I remember. Now I remember what was going on. Okay, this is heading into our next section. So I believe this is right. So I'm going to log in as I've been, wrong email. I think it's this one. And so we're going to log in, and we're going to go ahead. I'm going to apologize for having to do it this way. I had everything set up on my other computer. So this is Loola. We're going to take a look at Loola too. This is kind of neat. I'm going to try it again. Okay. That one's already signed in. So I'm going to go ahead and go into Gmail. And they all log on really great. Again, all this was set up earlier on my other computer. So we're just having a little bit of a pause while we get this going. So there we are. I'm going to turn that back a little bit. And so I think I'm still just sharing my screen. Yeah. Okay. I don't want it to do that. Okay. So now you all know this. So that's super awkward. I will go ahead and change my password. Okay. So now, don't worry, that won't be up very long. So in here, what? Okay. I'm having a bit of an issue. Okay. All right, just give me just a second. It looks like I'm having a small issue, and I just want to check in on. Okay. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. All right, I think I might have saved that now, I hope. Okay, apologies, just something with my interface that's being funky. All right, so coming. So cool. So this is back to StreamYard. I'll cut this out when I do the YouTube video. That's the great thing about editing. So here I can go ahead and I can create a broadcast. And I have it set up on the non-free channel. But the cool thing that I really like about this is that you have something where you can add destinations. And for me, on the paid version I have, it's $25 a month. I can have up to 6 different people on the stream. And all 6 of us could be here in a conversation having something. This is really good for webinars that are organized or just like general fun group chats that you have on a topic where you're not looking, where you want to have a guest kind of situation. And again, I have up to 4 different recordings for the month. That's 4 hours. So if you are having a show that you want to have recorded, but want to have it look real nice, you can go ahead and do that. So right here, if I want to broadcast here, I can go ahead and I can create a broadcast, and I can actually have it for up to 2 for what I'm paying for. So I can stream straight to here, and I can also say stream to Gritty Birds, or I can stream to Podcast Portland, which is a group that I have, and I can go out here and it'll stream to both of them, YouTube as well. And we're just going to go test stream, and we can also schedule it for later. So when I'm setting this up, I can go ahead and actually have a kind of a, hey, we're in at 1 o'clock, we're going to be able to do this. We're going to be having this webinar. And that's something that is very appealing to me. The biggest reason why I'm not using that for these particular ones is I want the video, and I want to be able to use StreamYard for these interviews where I have other people. So I'm going to keep using Zoom, even though there might be certain applications for why this is really great. StreamYard has a lot of other functions, and I'm still new to the platform. So I know that like with both StreamYard and Ecamm, which is a program that I'm going to go into next, they allow you to have comments. So you can have somebody make comments, and you have like a link that they click on from whatever page they're watching from, and then on that link they're able to I'm able to see the comments. And even on StreamYard you can reshare those, so like on the bottom it might have a ticker that says like someone's comment, and then you guys can reply to it. And I really like the interactive ability of that. That's something that's very, very nice. The way that we have them set up for us to get the sound in is probably a really important thing to talk about as well in that. So in each one of these, you have a preset that you can go ahead and set up the function for being able to do that. And so I'm going to show you really quick what from another interface of mine, like how these are set up. We're just going to imagine that it's connected, even though it's not. So this is my Focusrite. And right here, I actually just unplugged the cable, but this is where your cable for your mic goes. So right here, and then this thing right here is your gain setting, and this turns it up or down. And that's the thing that like I was adjusting earlier on my other interface, is because the gain popped up. What that means is that you're going to get more of the mic. So if you hear any sound in the back, or a refrigerator goes off, all of those are the things. And then I go ahead and take like your cable, and that cable is going to go into the computer. And then I'm going to go into my main settings on my computer. So I'll show you here for mine. We're going to go back to share desktop. And I'm going to go then into my system preferences. And right now I'm Bluetooth. So I'm going to go into sound. And in here, it's going to tell us where we want it to come from. So I really want it to be coming from my Babyface Pro. And on the other one, it would be my Focusrite Scarlett. Scarlett, it has been having me go ahead and download the software for it to work recently, which was different than I'd experienced in the past for an Apple. And then after that, I'm able to go into my settings to double check that it's there. So before I start any stream, I want to make sure that my mic is working, that the sound is optimized, and that we're not having any issues with being able to hear everything that's going on, so that we can get really, really good sound. So the next program that I use, because we're going to start winding down on time here. Here we go, is Ecamm Live. And I've been using Ecamm Live for years. Originally I used OBS, which is another platform. Ecamm Live, I have paid for it here and there at times. I like it because you have really great overlays. It also works similar to StreamYard, where you can set future conversations, and you can do more. So I'm going to go here here again and go to desktop, take a look at our Ecamm Live. So Ecamm Live, there are a few things that I like about it, particularly more than StreamYard, in the sense that is the way that the pop-up windows. So if I go here, I can have, for the stream that we have, I can actually have my overlays. We can take a look at what my overlays are going to be. I can have my sound levels on here so I know that I can see physically that things are correct. I can see my comment and reactions as well. And this is really nice. I also can record to many different destinations. So if I'm recording to Facebook, it's going to not, like, once I log into Facebook, then it's going to let me choose which different place I send it to. So I've got several different options. It is one thing, one place at a time. And like StreamYard, it does have a link that if you click on it, then you can see the comments. So it's very, very similar to it. Originally, you could pay like $30 and you got the whole program, and then they've slowly but surely changed little pieces of it. But I would say the overlays have been something I've really liked because I'm able to add in different ones of it really, really easily. And so this has been one of my go-tos for a very long time. And now it is about $20 a month. Most of these programs, to go past just the basic functions, are that much. But I really have enjoyed this program, and so I continue to use the version that I own. Now we're going to get into a couple new ones that I've been checking out, and then we're going to just touch base on corporate, but I'm going to plug my computer in really quick because I was trying to use my desktop. Just a second. Okay, we're all set. So we're a couple of the ones that I've been playing around with lately that have been fun were Loola, because I wanted to be able to stream to I wanted to be able to stream on to places like Instagram, right? Instagram's really fun, and it allows me to, and it'll also let me control my feeds. So let's go back here, and right now I'm going to share to Google Chrome. So Lula's right here. It's like, let's get started, and now I've signed in, and so now this is our stream. So we can actually just walk through the get started. This is a good way to do it. So this is my stream. You can connect to your social accounts here. As it says, this is nice. This is a good way to do it. This is where you're going to make sure that your sound is working out okay, and it's as simple as going live. But what was fun about this particular one was I loved the live chat and the way it was set up. It lets you do 30 minutes for free to Instagram, which was really neat. Like the moment that I logged on, I got a bunch of different people connected, which was a blast. And I enjoyed that a lot. And it's 30 minutes that you can do. I don't recommend doing multiple streaming. That isn't something you should do. But I have in the past done where, like, something like on Ecamm, I'll have that recording the whole time. Because that's the other thing, is I do all of my just general recording with Ecamm where I'm not streaming it. It's like if I'm doing a workshop, I just use that as my video camera because I can go ahead and even change like what the colors look like and all that stuff. So it makes it really simple for me to be able to save and record videos. And that might be something, unfortunately, it doesn't let me do quite what I want to with StreamYard yet at this point. So I'm still playing around with how I might be able to use both Ecamm and StreamYard. But for fun parts, this is sort of the next step, is we're getting into, like, this one is really neat. You can change effects. It's still a newer one, so there's a lot to still get to know with this one. Okay, so I'm going to stop the share. I'm just going to touch into these really quick because I haven't had a chance to beta test them. But a lot of people are going to be, one of the big futures, and we were having a conversation, like Sia and us in the talk yesterday, was that, like, the future of a lot of this is not just using Zoom. Zoom has had a huge burst in people being on it, but we're also going to be looking into an era where we are having using more of the virtual summit platforms to be able to have internal conversations. And there were a few recommendations that were given to me for programs that are alternatives to Zoom if you are in a corporate setting and do not want to use Zoom. And these are ones that my friend Damona used, and I'm going to be on the FreshBooks podcast, I think it's this week, where I'll be talking about kind of what I talked about last week as well. And then I'll be doing another podcast on Zoom with that's also going to be streaming soon with Tracy Hicks, who is all things real estate, and one of my clients who we just finished a launch for. So one of the programs is Cisco WebEx. So that's CISCO and then WEBEX. And then the other one is freeconferencing.com. So FREECONFERENCING call.com. So one of the things that I want to just mention, like if I was using Ecamm to broadcast this out, which is something I consider in the future, is I could be putting those notes on the side as opposed to just in the comments. So those are things to think about when you want to be like, what do I want to have on my screen? What do I have sharing that people can see? The other big one that allows you to stream to everywhere is Restream.io. Again, I have not gotten to beta test this one, but with that one, you ideally can go to many, 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 many platforms. Of course, if any of you have used a lot of these, let's continue having conversations. I'd love to hear more about how you're using specific platforms, including OBS. I know a lot of you out there are just in the world, especially as I'm getting more with the YouTube action, is all the programs you're using to get it out to everybody and not just the restreams. So the final part is I want to just chat with you guys about some of the fun programs. So I know that a lot of you have been having the social, and again, I've really enjoyed Zoom for this. I'm jumping on to Sia's calls, seeing some of the friends that I know just from the podcasting world. It's been really, really pleasant, and there's such fun parties for it. Twitch is a huge one for this as well. I have not played with Twitch much, but I know a lot of the fellow podcasters that do use Twitch all the time, and that's one that are kind of not podcasters, but a lot of the musicians that I know use Twitch. A lot of the gamers I know use Twitch. And those are platforms that are really great for also having that social piece of getting people to be a part of it. So I want to hear more about those. And if there's anyone who is, I know that I have friends like Jose, and I know I sent you out of the room, buddy, but when we were getting set up, but that maybe you guys can walk us through if you're interested in being a guest, and we can do this. You can show us the Twitch stuff. That'd be awesome. But there's been fun ones that I found out about. One of them, of course, is Netflix Party, and that one is not video, but you can watch things together. It's just a Chrome extension, and then you can add it, and then you all start it. And once you've started it, don't let anyone else control the settings. That's something we discovered on Friday. The Port Musicians 2.0 had one, and I kept being stopping it by accident, and I was like, don't touch it. So let only one person touch it. Tell everyone else, don't bug it. Just leave it alone. And then you can start the feed and can pause it until you get more people in the room, and that's pretty fun. Another one that I've started using is House Party, and I've been using that just with friends, like my best friend, but I want to use it more. I've heard that there's games on there, and you can play games with people, and you can have a lot of people in a room. I think it's also somewhere close to 6 or 8 that you can have, and they're small group chats, but you can play games on there with other people, which is great. Another one is Psych, PSY. And that is another game one that is streaming that you can play that has video in it. And then also Heads Up apparently is a really fun game that it's both of those are apps on your phone that you can download. So I want to just kind of recognize that there's a lot of other social ways we can do this that don't have to do with streaming to the world and that are completely internal, just in our social families. So that's kind of the real quick rundown, in 40 minutes without slides for this week's workshop. And I would love to hear your feedback. Of course, this is still a developing series. I've been spending a lot of time sort of thinking and working on these different pieces while just getting my home ready. I live in a really small space. Of course, when we're setting up the router, my landlord looks into the garage, is like, what is going on in here? Can you fix this? And I'm like, I 100% can fix this, but it's hard when there's no Goodwills anymore. And where do you put trash, and all these small considerations of this new world that we're all in. I'm holding up okay. It's definitely challenging being single, living alone. I'd say yesterday was probably one of my favorite days because I just got to talk to a bunch of friends from around the US and as well as from home. And one of my clients came and visited me. I think that we just have to figure out like what our length of doing all of this is. And to come back to streaming, what is your personal bandwidth to be able to be online all the time? And for me this week, my bandwidth was pretty low. I didn't really feel like being online, where last week I was like, whatever I can do. And I found that like having separation a little bit is like a very positive place for me. It allows me to be a better friend and to be a better client, or yeah, and that's not right, but be a better team member for all my clients. And so I wish you guys the best of luck in this next phase. And I probably will be continuing on with the streaming. And if anyone is interested, for next week's as well. I'm also going to kind of start touching base into interfaces and getting into that recording side of what we're going to be using for the tools. And I'm going to walk you, I think that's going to be next week. So next week, we're going to go into the tools for being able to like record and stream live, and what I'm using and what I have in the studio. So like, for example, I have a ring light. I have a couple different webcams. There's different ways you can do it from anything that you're doing. So I just want to say thank you guys for, if you've streamed through this, if you've made it through this whole 45 minutes, or if you only tuned in for 5, it's really great to see you guys. And, feel free to send a message, and we'll catch up very soon. And take care. You know where to find me, GreadyBirds.com or JennyWren at gbpodcastediting.com. All right, take care. Bye.